Hello everybody, Osmanu here. Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about covenants and abilities in Shadowlands. Each covenant gives you two special unique abilities. One, a signature ability, which is an ability given to all members of the covenant. And two, a class combat ability, which is an ability given to each member of the covenant, depending on your class. Covenant signature abilities. For the Kyrian we have Summon Steward. Summon Steward is a long cooldown consumable ability that restores 20% of your health and removes dots. For the Night Fae we have Soul Shape, which allows you to shape shift, teleport forward and increase your movement speed during 12 seconds or indefinitely while in a rest area. For the Venthyrs we have Door of Shadows, which is a mobility spell that allows you to teleport. It has a fairly short cooldown, but it requires time to cast. And for the Necrolord, we have Fleshcraft Form, which is a defensive ability that lets you absorb any kind of damage for an amount equal to 20% of your maximum health or 50% if near a corpse. It has a 4-second channeling time. Covenant class combat abilities. Paladin. Kyrian ability. Divine Toll cast Holy Shock for Holy Paladins. Avenger Shield for Protect Your Paladin or Judgment for all specs as a fight target AoE ability. Night Fae ability. Blessing of Seasons allow you to rotate within all season blessings in the following order: Spring, Summer, Autumn, and Winter. Spring increases healing done and receive. Summer increases the chance of extra holy damage. Autumn reduces cooldown times. Winter adds frost damage and reduces enemies' movement and attack speed up to 30 and 20% respectively. Each blessing has 30 seconds duration and can be applied to yourself or any ally. Ventyr ability. Ashen Hallow is an AoE shadow damage and healing spell for enemies and allies respectively. It has a long cooldown, cast time and moderate mana consumption. Necrolord ability. Vanquisher Hammer. For Retribution Paladin, it deals range shadow damage depending on your spell power, and empowers your next Templar Verdict, triggering Divine Storm. For Holy Paladin, it deals range shadow damage depending on your spell power, and empowers your next Word of Glory, triggering Light of Dawn. For Protection Paladin, it deals range shadow damage depending on your spell power, and empowers your next Word of Glory, triggering Shield of the Righteous. Warrior. Kyrian ability. Spear of Bastion provides range, instant and dot arcane damage depending on your attack power. It also acts as a CC by holding enemies in place. This ability adds the arcane school magic to warriors, which mostly have physical spells. Night Fae ability. Ancient Aftershock deals high AoE instant and dot natural damage depending on your attack power. It also provides CC over time and rage generation. This ability adds the Nature School magic to warriors, which mostly have physical spells. Venthyr ability. Coden provides high shard damage depending to your attack power. It also acts as a defensive debuff spell. It cannot be used on enemies that have between 20 and 80% health, and it is off the global cooldown. For the arms and protection specs, 20% of the rage spent is refunded if enemies survives. This ability adds the Shadow School magic to warriors, which mostly have physical spells. Necrolord's ability. Conqueror's Banner is an AoE buff that heals and increases critical strike to you and two allies within 15 yards of the banner for 20 seconds. It has a medium duration cooldown. For the arms and protection specs, while active, spending 20 rage and killing enemies grants you glory. For the Fury spec, while active, spending 30 rage and killing enemies grants your glory. Hunter. Kyrian ability. Resonating Arrow deals range AoE arcane instant and dot damage depending on your attack power. Where Resonating Arrow is active, you can attack enemies that are behind walls or obstacles, and your critical strike chance increases. Night Fae ability. Wild Spirits deals nature AoE and dot nature damage depending on your attack power. It applies Hunter's Mark, and each damaging ability you or your pet uses against a target in the area will cause nature damage up to 5 nearby targets depending on your attack power. It has 40 yards range. Ventir ability. Flayshot deals high bleed AoE shard damage. It increases your chance to gain Flayer's Mark, causing your next kill shot to be free and usable on any target, regardless of their current health. Necrolord ability. Death Chakram is a ranged attack that deals Shadow Dot and Cliff depending on your attack power. Each time the Chakram deals damage, its damage is increased by 15% and you generate 3 focus. Rogue. Kyrian. Echoing Reprimand provides arcane damage depending on your attack power and improves your combo points mechanism. Nightfare. Sepsis deals Nature Dot. If the target survives its duration, they suffer additional damage and you vanish from sight. Cooldown is reduced if sepsis does not last its full duration. Ventir. Flagellation deals shard damage that stacks over time, torments the target for a period of time, and increases your haste. Flagellation is off general cooldown. Necrolord. Serrated Bone Spike deal instant and dot damage until the target bleeds to death. It also gives you combo points, has a 20 seconds recharge, and a 30 yards range. More than one Bone Spike can be active at a time. Serrated Bone Spike is an overpowered ability, indeed. Death Knight. Kyrian. Shackle the Unworthy reduces damage taken and deals dot arcane damage depending on your attack power. While Shackle the Unworthy is active on an enemy, your direct damage attacks that spend runes have a 50% chance to spread Shackle the Unworthy to a nearby enemy. It has a 30 yard range. Nightfare. Death 2 replaces Death and Decay. It deals shadow damage over time depending on your attack power. It also reduces damage taken, and you gain power depending on your enemy's strength stat. It is off general cooldown. For the Blood spec, Death 2 deals dot and AoE shard damage. Also, your Heart Strike will hit up to 3 additional targets and inflict Death 2. Death 2 also reduces damage taken depending on the target's power and strength. For the Frost spec, Death 2 deals dot and AoE shard damage. While you remain within the area, your Obliterate will hit up to 1 additional target and inflicts Death 2. Death 2 also reduces damage taken depending on your target's power and strength. For the Unhold spec, Death 2 deals dot and AoE shard damage. While you remain within the area, your Scorch Strike will hit up to 4 enemies near the target and inflict Death 2. Death 2 also reduces damage taken depending on the target's power and strength. Ventir. Swarming Mist increases your dodge for a period of time and deals dot and AoE shard damage depending on your attack power. You also gain rune power. Necrolord. Abomination Limb deals dot and AoE shard damage. It also pulls an enemy to your location if they are further than 8 yards from you. For the Blood spec, the first time you pull an enemy, the enemy gains 3 bone shield charges. For the Frost spec, the first time you pull an enemy, the enemy gains Rime. And for the Unholy spec, the first time you pull an enemy, the enemy gains Runic Corruption. Monk. Kyrian. Weapon of Order increases your mastery. For the Brewmaster spec, Keg Smash cooldown is reset, and enemies hit by Keg Smash take increasingly dot damage. For the Mistweaver spec, Essence Font cooldown is reset, and AoE heal allies depending on your attack power. For the Windwalker spec, additionally, Rising Sun Kick reduces chi cost for a period of time, and Blackout Kick reduces the cooldown of affected abilities. Nightfare. Feline Stomp deals AoE nature damage depending on your attack power, and AoE heal allies depending on your spell power. For the Brewmaster spec, up to 5 enemies caught in the feline are ignited with Breath Fire. For the Mistweaver spec, up to 5 allies caught in the feline are held with an Essence Font Bolt. For the Windwalker spec, up to 5 enemies caught in the feline suffer an additional damage depending on your attack power. Your abilities have a 6% chance of resetting the cooldown of Feline Stomp. Ventir. Falling Order summons spirits that will deal shard damage with Breath of Fire or Fist of Fury, or heals allies with Developing Mist. Necrolord. One Dust Brew increases your ability chance to affect the target a second time at 35% effectiveness as shadow damage or healing. For the Brewmaster spec, Tiger Palm and Keg Smash reduces the cooldown of your brews with your Bone Dust Brew active. For the Mistweaver spec, Mastery Ghost of Mist heals targets with the Bone Dust Brew active depending on your attack power. For the Windwalker spec, Pinning Crane Kick gives you chi when striking enemies with your Bone Dust Brew active. Demon Hunter, Kyrian. Elysian Decree deals high arcane damage depending on your attack power. Night Fae. The Hunt Major charge up to 100 yards to your target, root set, and deals high instant nature damage. It also causes dot and AoE nature damage. In addition, you get healing over time. This ability is considered to be overpowered. Ventir. Sinful Brand reduces the enemy melee attack and casting speed, and inflict dot sharp damage depending on your attack power. Activating Metamorphosis applies Sinful Brand to all nearby enemies. Necrolord. Fodder to the Flame creates an area of effect that increases your haste and reduces damage taken. Mage. Kyrian. Radiant Spark deals instant and dot arcane damage depending on your spell power. The target takes increased damage from your direct damage spells. Night Fae. Shifting Power provides AoE and dot damage and reduces your ability's cooldowns. However, it has a 6 seconds channel time. Ventir. Mirrors of Torment deals AoE sharp damage and reduces enemies' movement and cast speed. At the final stage of this ability, it will root and silence. For the Arcane spec, you gain mana. For the Fire spec, your Fire Blast cooldown is reduced, and for the Frost spec, you gain Brain Freeze. Necrolord. Deathborn makes your Frostball, Fireball, and Arcane Blast hit more enemies, and your spell damage is increased. Priest. Kyrian. Boon of the Ascended. For the Discipline Unholy spec, it grants access to Ascended Nova, replacing Smite and Ascended Blast, and increasing movement speed. It also releases an Ascended Eruption, causing AoE arcane damage and healing to allies depending on your spell power and number of targets. For the Shadow spec, it grants access to Ascended Nova, replacing Mind Flay with Ascended Blast, and increases movement speed. It also releases an Ascended Eruption, causing AoE arcane damage and healing to allies depending on your spell power and number of targets. Night Fae. Fae Guardians summons fairies that will restore mana or insanity, reduce damage taken or reduces cooldowns regeneration. Ventir. Mind Games. For the Discipline Unholy spec, it deals high sharp damage depending on your spell power. It also provides an special CC ability where the enemy's damage and healing effects are reversed. For the Shadow spec, it deals high sharp damage depending on your spell power. It also provides an special CC ability where the enemy's damage and healing effects are reversed. It also generates insanity or mana. Necrolord. Unholy Nova AoE heal your allies depending on your spell power. Shaman. Kyrian. Vesper Totem summon totems that deals AoE arcane damage and AoE heals allies depending on your spell power. Night Fae. Fae Transfusion deals AoE and dot nature damage, and AoE heal allies depending on your spell power. It also generates Maelstrom weapon stacks. Ventir. Chain Harvest deals high cliff shard damage and AoE heal allies depending on your spell power. Necrolord. Remove the wave when applied on an enemy, it deals shadow damage and applies flame shock, and when applied on an ally, it heals them depending on your spell power. This is one of the only abilities that can be used on an ally or a friend and have different effects. For the Elemental spec, your next Lava Burst will also hit all targets affected by your Flame Shock. For the Enhancement spec, your next Lightning Bolt will also hit all targets affected by your Riptide. And for the Restoration spec, applies Riptide to an ally, and your next Healing Wave will also hit all targets affected by your Riptide. Warlock. Kyrian. Scoring Tide deals instant and AoE arcane damage. You can also generate soul shards or get your Scoring Tide. Cooldown refresh if the enemy does not die. This could mean that you can spam scoring tight until the enemy die. Nightfare. Soul Rot deals AoE cliff nature damage, and it also makes your drain life to don't consume any mana. It is soft the glow or cooldown. Ventir. Impending Catastrophe causes either Curse of the Weakness or Curse of the Tongues, and deals damage over time, depending on your spell power. Necrolord. Decimating Bolt deals sharp damage depending on your spell power. For the Affliction spec, Decimating Bolt also increases the damage of Shadow Bolt. For the Demonology spec, Decimating Bolt also increases the damage of Shadow damage, or Demon Bolts. For the Destruction spec, Decimating Bolt also increases the damage of Drained Souls, or Shadow Bolts. Druid. Kyrian. Kindred Spirits lets you form a bond with an ally. Every 1 minute you may empower the bond for 10 seconds, granting you an effect based on your partner's roll, and granting them an effect based on your roll. It has 1 hour duration. For the Guardian aspect, Kindred Protection protect your bonded partner, redirecting damage they take to you. For the Restoration aspect, Kindred Focus makes you focus on your bonded partner, replicating 30% of all healing you deal onto them. For the Balance and Fair aspect, Kindred Empowerment grants your bonded partner a percentage of your damage as an additional arcane damage, healing or absorption. For Healed Partner, they focus on you, replicating healing they deal onto you. For Damaged Partners, it grants your bonded partners damage as an additional arcane damage, healing or absorption. For Tank Partners, they protect you, redirect damage you take to your bonded partner for a period of time or until they fall below 20% health. Long Spirits allows you to form a connection with your inner self. Every 1 minute you may empower the connection for 10 seconds, granting you an effect based on your roll. It has a 100 yards range. For Guardian, long protection reduces damage taken for a period of time. For Restoration, long meditation increases healing done for a period of time, and for Balance and Feral, long empowerment increases damage done for a period of time. Nightfare. Convert the spirits channels 12 Druid spells in a short period of time. This is considered an overpowered ability. For the Balance spec, you will cast Star Surge, Starfall, Moonfire, Wrath, Regrowth, Rejuvenation, Rake and Trash on appropriate nearby targets, favoring your current Shapeshift form. And for the Feral, Guardian and Restoration specs, you will cast Wild Growth, Swift Smith, Moonfire, Wrath, Regrowth, Rejuvenation, Rake, and Trash on appropriate nearby targets, favoring your current Shapeshift form. Ventir. Ravenous Frenzy increases your damage, healing, and haste for a period of time. However, you will get a stun or lose health. Necrolord. Adaptive Swarm heals over time or deal dot charge damage and improves your overtime abilities. Towards the end, you can jump to a target location, alternating between friend and foe for a limited number of times. And that will bring closure to this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to support this channel, stay Magnum, and see you in the next one.